So what about the Passover lamb? It's a controversial topic, and I understand why. I came out of churchianity, so to speak, and good morals and things like that, but wasn't really taught from the Bible. And I remember at one point telling somebody, I'll never slaughter a lamb. You can forget that. And then, here I am 26 years later, and I've been doing it every year for the Passover. A lot of people think you can't slaughter a lamb for Passover because they say, you got to have a priest and a temple, and that's just not true. There are many sacrifices in the Bible that did not involve a Levite or a temple. They're all through the book of Genesis. We see Abel offering the firstling of his flock in Genesis 4 and the fat portions thereof. You might can argue that Adam, his father, was the priest, but that was a patriarch, right? Then you have Noah. He gets off the boat as a patriarch of his family, and he offers up the clean animals as burnt offerings. Then you have Abraham, another patriarch in Genesis 22, finding the ram in the thicket instead of his son Isaac, and he offers the ram up as a burnt offering. We see the same thing as we get further into the Bible. Even after settlement into the land, we have people like Manoah and Gideon in the book of Judges offering up sacrifices, and they're from the tribe of Dan. And then we have a non-Israelite, Naaman the Syrian, in 2 Kings 5, I believe, that wants to take some dirt from a holy place back home with him so that he can build an altar. And the presumption is to offer sacrifice to the Mighty One of Israel. When it comes to the Passover, the heads of the homes were commanded to offer up the Passover lamb. There's even record in the historian Philo, who was a Levite of the diaspora, how that on the Passover day, a priesthood is given to each head of a household so that they offer up a lamb. We know that the first Passover was kept in Egypt, not in a promised land. The second Passover was kept in the wilderness, not in a promised land. And the third Passover, the third recorded Passover at the end of the 40-year wandering in the wilderness, was kept in the plains of Jericho at a place called Gilgal in Joshua 5. So Exodus 12, Numbers 9, Joshua 5, those are three Passovers that are taking place, recorded in the Bible, where there's no central location of worship. There's no record that there had to be a Levite priest that offered up the Passover lamb. We do find later, I think it's either in Hezekiah's Passover in 2 Chronicles 30 or Josiah's Passover in 1 Chronicles maybe 35. This is coming all off the top of my head, so if I misquote one of these verses, don't hold me to it. Just, find the proper verse. So we do see that the Levites killed some Passovers, but it looks like in one place it's because the men had not properly purified. The Levites were fine to do this, but the heads of the households, if they had properly purified, would have done it. So I don't see a problem with doing it today. We know Deuteronomy 30, right there in the first few verses, says that when we're in exile and Yahweh sees us obeying his commandments, right, he'll bring us back to the land of promise. How is he going to see us obeying his commandments if we're not doing them? And then we have the idea of Yeshua is our sacrifice. And yes, he's our sacrifice, but Yeshua is not an animal. He wasn't offered up by a priest. His sacrifice is a different type of sacrifice. His sacrifice is one whereby there's no greater love that a man has than to lay down his life for his friends. It's similar, not the same, don't hold me to this illustration, but similar to a friend taking a bullet for another friend. So it's not a human sacrifice in the sense of being offered up on an altar as a burnt offering, but it's you giving your life, like a soldier in the army or somebody jumping in front of a car when they see a car about to hit a child. His sacrifice is on a heavenly higher plane than an animal. His does what an animal cannot do. Killing a Passover lamb, slaughtering a Passover lamb as a zabach or a sacrifice, we're not trying to replace anything that Yeshua did. We're doing it in obedience to the Exodus 12 command. And we're doing it to remember about the removal of the Israelites from the land of Egypt. I could talk about Deuteronomy 12, verse 8, where it says, you won't do like we're doing in the wilderness when you get into the promised land. In the wilderness, we're doing everything that's right in our own eyes. And a lot of people read that in a negative context, but it's not. Check out Joseph Benson's commentary on Deuteronomy 12:8 or Albert Barnes' commentary on that text. And you'll see that what Yahweh is saying is while you're in the wilderness, while we're not in a land resting as a civil body politic or a theonomy or a theocracy in the land I'm giving you. We do things now a little bit different than when we're settled. Deuteronomy 16:6 says that once you're settled in the land, all of the tribes, that you don't offer the Passover at every place that you see, but you go to a central location to keep things properly and in order and to keep people from sacrificing to demons, But we're not in that time frame right now. We're not in the land. One day we will be, and we'll go up to the city of Yahweh. He will teach us of his ways. Right now we're in exile and we do the best that we can, and I don't think there's anything wrong with slaughtering an animal for a meal, a sacrificial meal among covenant keepers. If you want more information, you can private message me. I can send you a series of teachings that I've done on animal sacrifices. I know it's a ticklish topic. I'm not trying to be different. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to be true to the word of Yahweh. I love you. I'm just trying to clarify my position because some people think, I can't believe that guy offers up an animal for a sacrifice. He's doing away with Yeshua. No. I believe in Yeshua with all my heart. And Yeshua kept the Passover for about 32 years. He ate the lamb or the goat for the Passover. Luke 2 says every year his parents would travel to Jerusalem for the feast and they would celebrate. So Yeshua was Torah observant and he kept the Passover. I think if we want to walk in his footsteps, we ought to as well.